Everybody has heard of Starbucks, whether it is your go-to morning cup of coffee or it's just that store you drive by once in a while. Everybody has heard of a Starbucks. It's hard not to when it's on every other corner. But how much do we know about the people who work behind the counter? I chose to interview Shift Supervisor Irving Virgen. As a shift supervisor, it is his job to control the play of the store, to move around the baristas from different locations and have them complete different tasks, but that's not what makes him a leader, just being in charge. What makes Irving a leader is his democratic style, his ability to adapt to difficult situations, and his care for his team is what makes him, in my eyes, a great leader. So as a side note, anytime I reference a partner, that is the Starbucks cultural language for an employee. So Irving Virgin, in my interview, I really wanted to get a sense of how he prepared for the role he's in now, how he motivates his team, how he deals with his failures, and what he does to prepare for his future roles as a leader. So, and a little bit about his background, he's been a shift lead for about 4 years. He feels like he was thrown into the role. It was because of his manager noticed his great sense of need to solve problems and to care for his partners that really caught his manager's attention. And he said that he was just thrown into the role because of that. He felt like he got a lot of inspiration from his past managers, taking the best qualities of each, what they were good at, and molding it into his own leadership style. As a way he motivates his team, he says he really adopts a democratic leadership style. The textbook describes the democratic leaders as people who engage in supportive communication that facilitates interaction between leaders and followers. These leaders adopt democratic communication style that encourages followers involvement and participation in the determination of goals and procedures. And Irving says that was one of his knowing his partners, knowing their strengths and their weaknesses, and getting them involved in day-to-day operations. So he really is not exhibiting an authoritarian style at all. He's very democratic, and people seem to be really pleased with that. He says he knows he's successful as a leader because his partners tell him they're excited to work with him on a day-to-day basis. Even we discussed some of his failures and what he does when he fails, how he works with partners who maybe are not responding positively to any feedback he's giving them. And he really showed a altruistic concern for all of his partners, even people who are disagreeing with him. The textbook decides altruism as someone who's concerned for others for their ultimate and concerned for others, and it's their ultimate ethical standard. Proponents of altruistic behavior argue that we ought to help others regardless of whether we get any benefit from doing so. And Irving says that he really wants to learn about his partners and learn about them, and if they're having a difficult situation or a difficult time, he tries to really shave off the outside problems. He really wants to get to the root. He talked about peeling back layers and layers and finding out what the real problem is, not just maybe the attitude in the moment. I even asked him what his toughest feedback to give to a follower was, and he really showed a sense of social appraisal in his answers. He says he tries to recognize the feelings and behaviors of others in social situations and tries to respond based on that. So he really showed a desire to communicate with each partner in the way that works best for them. That was another aspect of his behavior that really showed leadership, as he tries to know every partner and to care about them, all the while trying to maintain a successful shift. I also asked him what any future preparations he has for his next role, and he says he reads a lot of books. Any book that will help him lead, any book that will help him get his mojo back. He's also talking about changing frequencies, which is getting your mind set for the next level. And you can really tell that in all of his work. He works in the moment with all of his partners, but you can also tell he's attempting to get himself ready for that next step. He's always thinking about that, and so he's not being complacent. He's striving for more, and I really felt like that was a good showmanship of leadership, as someone who isn't just complacent. They're always trying to be better and to make everyone else better. Pretty much in conclusion, my interview with Irving went really well. I learned a lot about him and his desire for his partners, and that seemed to be his strongest suit, was that he cared for his partners, he cared for his shift supervisors. If he ever had a difficult situation, he would connect with them and he would discuss with them what was the problem, what was wrong. and he would peel back the layers to get to the real root of the problem. And that's one of the big reasons I wanted to interview him, is because he cares. He really cares about his job, and mostly his partners. And because of that, a lot of people are happier and do a better job when he is running a shift. And lastly, I asked Irving a very important question. I asked him, how did he like to take his coffee? And he said black, which I think shows a lot about him. Because with Irving, he's very straightforward, but you add what you need to with him, and so that suits your needs. And as a leader, I feel like that's really important. Again, because of his democratic leadership style, his ability to adapt to difficult situations, and his care, really, ultimately, his care for his team, his social appraisal, his altruism is what makes Irving Virgen a leader in my eyes.